Hi, I'm Linda Pineacre, psychic medium and author. Tonight's topic is trusting your intuition. I'll talk about circumstances where it may be more difficult to trust your intuition, how to ensure that your emotions and ego don't interfere with your intuition, and how to develop confidence in your intuition. So thanks for joining me. As you know, intuition is not a science. In most cases, there's nothing observable available at the moment to confirm that your intuitive impressions and messages are correct. There's often a delay between receiving an intuitive message and receiving confirmation that it's correct. Sometimes it's almost immediate, but sometimes it takes years, and sometimes you never become aware that it was correct, even though it was. This really makes it difficult to trust your intuition. There are certain circumstances where it's even more difficult to trust your intuition than others. For example, it may be difficult to entrust your intuitive messages and impressions when it's for someone that you know really well or when it's for yourself. You may lack confidence about whether the information is intuitive or whether it's based on something you already know about this person or yourself. Hi, Linda. Thanks for joining. Yes, if you'd love to, I'd really appreciate it if you would say hi and let me know where you're from. That'd be great. An example of time when it's difficult would be, say you get the idea that your friend will attend a university arts program that just comes to your mind, but you already know that's an area of interest for her. So you don't know whether or not the idea was an intuitive message or if it was just simply a thought. There's such a thin line between intuitive messages and thoughts. And many of the thoughts we have are actually channeled to us without us being aware of it. And so sometimes we're just not sure. When I first learned how to connect through trance with spirits, I wanted to experiment with loved ones and spirits. I hadn't done that yet. And I wanted to do it when no one else was present. But I wanted them to be loved ones who were unfamiliar to me so that I'd have more confidence in the information that I received. So one of my sisters provided the name of 4 of her husbands, loved ones in spirit, that I wasn't familiar with. Hi, Linda. She's from Nanaimo. Great. That's nice. I love it when it's further away. Anyway, I recorded and transcribed the messages that I received through trance. And then I shared them with her sister, with my sister, her husband, and their daughter. And they all validated the information I received. And that helped me to have enough confidence to start connecting through trance with loved ones in spirit for my clients. I just wanted to do it the easy way first. And I was really glad that I did. At times, you might be uncertain as to whether or not your emotions or your ego are interfering with the intuitive messages and impressions you receive. An example of that would be, say, if you got the impression or the idea that one of your friends is going to separate, and you believe that the friend was involved in a destructive relationship. So although that idea came to you, you're uncertain as to whether it was intuitive because it's what you wanted to happen. You must be grounded to ensure that your ego and your emotions don't interfere with the intuitive messages you receive. And what that means is that your spirit and your energy must be completely in your body. Because a lot of us, our higher self sort of leaves our body and is constantly checking out to see what other people are thinking and doing and planning to help us, feel more secure and have a better idea what's going on. But the best way to attract things to you is for your energy, your spirit, and your body all to be united as one, working together. Hi, Madison. Thanks for joining. You may ground yourself by thinking about pulling your spirit and energy fully into your body. So if you're sitting, feel yourself sitting fully in the seat of your chair. And if you're standing, feel your feet firmly planted on the ground. And don't forget to breathe. All of those things will help you to be grounded. The other thing that can interfere with you trusting your intuition is that it may be a belief that you have. Say, based on what you believe, it may seem as though your intuitive impression doesn't make sense, but sometimes there's a mitigating factor that you don't know about. I plan on spending significant periods of time in the UK, and I believe that the regulations around bringing dogs into the UK, for example, the length of quarantine, would make it impractical for me to get a dog because it would have to travel with me. I had a dog up until recently, but I no longer do. She passed on a couple of weeks ago. But my niece saw how disappointed I was and how heartbroken I was about living by myself without a dog, because I mean, we just had such a close relationship, spent so much time together. And she pointed out to me that she's frequently seeing dogs on the airplanes when she's going into the UK. And so she thought that, you know, that there must be something wrong with that belief that I had. So I looked it up again online, and the regulations are much more lax than they were when I'd looked it up in the early 2000s, which means that I can get another dog. And this is a great relief to me, and I hope to do so soon because I can hardly wait. But my assumption was that this wasn't a possibility. So I didn't even look at it intuitively. And I actually make all of my decisions intuitively, but I didn't even consider that one because if I had, it would have been difficult for me to trust my intuition anyway, because I really believed that getting another dog was impractical. So even if I got a yes, I would have thought, oh, you're just thinking that because that's what you want. And I would have doubted that I was grounded because it's so important to me. There can also be external reasons that interfere with you being able to trust your intuition. For example, if you're working for a company where the expectation is that you pursue every lead, but your intuition is telling you that the client or the contract won't go anywhere, or it'll cost the company a great deal of money without a worthwhile outcome, you can't trust your messages or impressions that you're receiving, because you certainly can't trust them enough to refuse the client or the contract because of the company expectations. And it's really hard in most companies to say, gee, but intuitively I'm getting, you know, that's just not substantial enough for them. Oh, thanks, Madison. She's such good advice. Hi, Teresa. Thanks for joining. Some people aren't receptive to others using their intuition to look at them, and they can block you from looking at them intuitively without them even being aware that they're doing that. You know, I think most people aren't aware that our higher self, when we look at someone else intuitively, actually gets permission from the other person's higher self to look at them. Not that they're consciously aware of that, but more or less that person's higher self can say, no, you're not looking at me. Or they might say, you can look at me, but you can't look at that area. But it makes it really difficult. And so it means that either you won't get messages or the ones you get will be incorrect because you're being blocked. Confidence has everything to do with the ability to trust intuitive messages. And if you decide to share intuitive messages and impressions with others, it's important that these people are positive and supportive. It's okay if, you know, healthy skepticism is acceptable, but sharing intuitive messages with those who don't believe in intuition or they tend not to trust others can affect your confidence and can make it difficult for you to feel comfortable in taking risks and sharing what you receive. And this may make it difficult for you to provide intuitive information to the full extent that you're capable. And then what I mean by that is that you may be getting some intuitive messages, but because the person really seems not to be supportive and not to be that open, some of the weird things that come to you that you're not sure whether or not it's really an intuitive message, you're less likely to take the risk and share that with the person because you don't want to be wrong. And what really happens is you aren't able to share everything that's coming to you. And it really makes for you not feeling as good about it afterwards because it was so much more limited than you're capable. If you've made errors in the past, you're much more likely to second guess yourself. And I mean, everybody's experienced that because we all make errors. That's the thing about being human. Hi, Sherry. Thanks for joining. And Teresa says, yes, confidence. Yes, and Teresa does readings, so she would know. She shares a lot of intuitive messages, impressions with people. So Practice is the only thing that will help you to become confident about using your intuition. When you use your intuition and you receive validation, this helps you to become more able to trust what you receive. Practice using your intuition for on a daily basis for decision making, even simple little things, because the more you do it, the more confident you become. And if you're uncertain about whether what you've received, whether or not it's accurate, use a pendulum to validate the answers. But, you know, do it right, get the message first, and then use the pendulum to validate it, because that's the only way it'll build your confidence. You don't want to become too reliant on the pendulum to give you the answers. Or the other thing you can do is you can ask for a sign from your spirit guides or your loved ones in spirit. So if you're getting the impression it's a good idea for you to do something, then just say to them, please bring me a feather or something, you know, if it's a good idea for me to blah, 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 whatever you're thinking of. If you'd like to learn how to use your intuition for decision making, there's free videos on my YouTube channel, or else you can visit my intuitive training page on my website. All the videos are there, and there's also a button that you can click that'll take you to another page for some free intuitive exercises. Teresa says, pendulum, fun. They are fun, except my guides won't let me use one anymore. Years ago, they said to me, your intuition is fully open now. We don't want you using pendulums anymore. We just want you to trust yourself and use your intuition. So if I bring up a pendulum, it won't do anything unless I'm trying to demonstrate to someone how they work, and then it'll work. But otherwise, it just sits there and stares at me. But you guys go ahead and enjoy. You know, until you reach the point where you get a message, you're not supposed to use it anymore. You can practice using intuitive messages with friends and with family if they're receptive to it. Or you can participate in classes and activities that provide an opportunity for you to practice and receive validation. It's really, to me, it's really positive, because I see more and more people getting together with friends that are intuitive like they are, or family members that are, and sharing messages back and forth. And it's just such a great way to build your confidence. And, you know, it's not like they're always getting together and planning to do that, but sometimes they might be just walking in the woods and one gets a message and shares it with the other one. And, you know, it's just a really good way to get practice, and it's fun. When you share intuitive information with someone, feel free to ask for validation. It's okay to say, does this fit for you? Does this resonate with you? And if the answer is affirmative, that will help you to have more confidence in sharing more. But, you know, a lot of people feel like it's not okay to ask, but it is, because if, for example, you share something with someone and they say, oh yeah, that just makes total sense, you're much more likely to share more information, because of the stuff that comes to you, you're going to feel more confident about sharing it. So they benefit, and so do you. When messages occur at a time when you're not thinking about a particular situation, that makes it a lot easier for you to trust what you got, because you sort of have to say to yourself, well, why did I think of this now if it wasn't intuitive? Or if you get unusual vocabulary that, you know, you wouldn't typically use, or the message comes to you in an unusual way. Like I get a lot of messages through songs, or weird phrases, or like titles of movies or whatever. And, you know, that can help you to be more confident that what you've received is intuitive too. So does anybody have any questions before I start winding down here? You know, people be like, I can't type that fast. Nah, maybe not. That's what I'd be thinking. Okay, so try to develop awareness in situations where it's more difficult to trust your intuition, so that you can avoid placing yourself in those situations, because it can interfere with you developing your confidence. I'm not saying you want to avoid them completely, but don't go for broke. Don't take such big risks that it ends up really setting you back, okay? Make sure that you're grounded whenever you're receiving intuitive information, because it can seem like it's so right and it feels so right, but if you're not grounded, it can be so wrong. So just make sure your emotions, your ego aren't interfering. Make sure you're fully grounded. Practice whenever possible so you become more confident, and feel free to ask for validation. If you'd like to become more confident about the intuitive messages you receive and you're available, you may attend my Discover Your Intuitive Self workshop. It's on Saturday, October 5th from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. And it's right here, Spirit Communications. The registration is limited to 6 people, so it's a small group. The early bird discount is $95 if you register by September 25th, and after that the price goes up. If you're interested, there's more information available on my Facebook page in the events section, or you can go to my website, which is www.lindapinacre.com. The next event, the next live event, is Being on the Other Side. And it's a Facebook live event. It's September 16th. It's a Wednesday again at 6 o'clock Pacific time. And it's on my business page at Linda Pineacre Spirit Communications. It would be great to see you there. And thank you all for joining.